Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Razzball Fantasy Basketball Podcast. We are continuing to hit our goal of doing these weekly, so check back into the website every Thursday morning. These should be uploaded Friday morning at the latest. We'll also be updating our new YouTube channel, the Razzball Fantasy Basketball YouTube channel. So check it out, subscribe, leave comments on there. Hopefully we'll be putting some more and more content on there as we go. But hit the website. That has everything you need, basketball.razzball.com. Sun's up to his top 100 on there now, and he is with me today to go through numbers 25 through 50. The last two podcasts, we got up to number 25. Today's 25 through 50. So Sun and I will be hitting those. Sun, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Had dinner. I just took a nice dump, so I'm feeling lighter, feeling ready to go. So that's always I always feel refreshed after I take a good dump.
Cleaned out,
What's going
man.
on with you?
Yeah, your voice sounds even a little bit lower. So I mean, you can tell you're relaxed. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I'm not as relaxed as you. I think maybe later on tonight I'll get there. But doing good. Just having fun updating these videos and putting content out there for Razzball Nation. So I hope people start checking it out. So Son, how about we'll just run through the next 25 people on your rankings. I know these rankings have helped me win my basketball draft last year. So I hope people are. Well, my draft and my league last year. So I hope people are paying attention. And then we'll just have some comments, maybe talk about, your decision-making process with some of the guys, close calls, guys that could have been slotted elsewhere, but, for whatever reason, statistically, they fit in where they did. And Son, take it away.
All right. 26, Donovan Mitchell. I loved him last year. From what I saw in the summer league, he showed the ability to score, and what really impressed me the most about him was like he had that dog in him, right? Like he was playing tough D, and he really jumped out last year. And I obviously didn't rate him as high as I should have last year, but I was definitely on him. I think Craig was on him too. So when I was doing the projections, I thought he would end up higher initially. Like he ended up here at 26, but initially I think he ended up like down in like close to the 50s. And Viz, when I had Viz look over everything, like that was the one guy that stood out to him. And obviously he's a Jazz fan, so he was probably looking out for him. But
yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah, right, yeah.
It was shocking. Viz noticed Donovan Mitchell. What a shocker! Right? Yeah,
seriously. But after after just spending a few minutes talking about it, it kind of made sense. I ended up increasing his usage and his shot attempts because Viz made a good point. He was like, it took Mitchell a little bit of time to kind of get into the flow. So early on in the season, he wasn't really jacking up that many shots, but by the end of the season, he was putting up over 20 shots a game. So I think I had him at like 17 or something like that. And I increased that, and just by boosting up his shot attempts, I think I gave him a boost in assist. That put him up into the 26 range. I kind of feel like he might be a little topped out here. Maybe if like he contributed more in the blocks, but I mean, man, 23 points a game, almost 3 threes a game. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals. Like, that's pretty nasty. So, I really don't have a problem with 26. And, after kind of meditating on things a little bit, I still do think there's some room for upside as well.
Yeah, but, when I was reading through the top 50, I noticed what you had written about upping his shots per game. And that's a good call by Viz. With Mitchell, I was going to ask, is there any concern, that maybe, given, the green light and the success he had, that he starts maybe taking a little too many chances with the ball and those turnovers jump up a little bit, or the field goal percentage, takes a bit of a hit with the more shots?
Actually, I think, 2.7 turnovers is really good for a guy with his usage rate. So I don't really see how, like a big improvement in that would be kind of a stretch. But I don't see really an
No, I meant
increase in
could it get
turnovers.
worse?
No, I know that's
Oh,
no,
okay,
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. So like on the from the negative aspect of it, it's always a possibility. But I feel like as he gets more experience, right? Like he did all that as a rookie. So as he gets more comfortable and gets more experience, I don't think that because he's so used to that role, right? Like that's like he thrives when he has the ball in his hands. So it's not something like he's a fish out of water. So I'm not too concerned about increasing turnover rate. And in terms of field goal percentage, um, there's a chance that I could see better efficiency actually because Rubio will probably come back, and that team is going to be really good. So and plus he loves like attacking the rim and getting out in transition. So like those buckets will increase his field goal percentage. And I don't think that the only issue is like because like he's gonna get the ball when the shot clock is down to like 5, and he's gonna have to put up those field goal percentage busting shots.
Yep.
So that may kind of negate it, but net, I think he'll be fine around this range. Yeah, I don't really see too much of a negative impact.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I don't think they added anybody that's going to hurt him in any way, at least as fantasy. If anything, they added complementary guys that are going to help, space it out, let him, be able to get into the paint even more.
Yeah, the Favors signing was a good signing. They re-signed Favors, and hopefully Rubio comes back healthy. And I don't know. Like, do you think Grayson Allen makes an impact?
That's tough. He's way more athletic than I thought. I don't know how he's going to shoot at the NBA level. I mean, he's always been a good shooter. But he's way more athletic than I thought. I think that'll help him be able to defend at the NBA level and get him some minutes. So I mean, I like the Jazz a lot. The West is just crazy when you look at the West. Like with a team like the Jazz is like a tweener team. I mean, geez.
They're gonna be really good. Yeah, they're gonna be really good. I mean, I saw some guy, I forgot who, so I can't give credit, but he's like kind of questioning is Utah the second best team in the West, and I think that's not out of the realm of possibility because I think Houston takes a step back. So, yeah, it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 second best teams in the West when it comes down to it. I mean, I like Houston. I think Houston's still there. The Jazz are right there. Sure. I think the Thunder are gonna surprise a lot of people. They're gonna be, and I think Denver is gonna be right there. I mean, geez, when I think about the teams, it's like Minnesota. So, but I do think Denver could be the kind of the Utah Jazz of this season.
Yeah, I love Denver. They just don't play deep. That's the only issue.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love Dallas, right? But like, they're gonna be what 10th?
They're getting buried. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get buried. I mean, I think they're gonna be very competitive. It's just that the West is so stacked that it's gonna be tough for them to make hay this year. But I mean, I really love the moves that they made.
Do the Lakers make it in?
Yeah, I think the Lakers make the playoffs. As we said in I think it was the pod two weeks ago, I think. I don't think they're a title contender this year, but I think definitely playoffs. What 6th seed, 5th seed?
Right? Yeah, I mean any team with LeBron.
Yeah. So the LeBron factor right there. It's gonna be tough for them to get home court, I think. Right, like you said, Houston, Golden State, Oklahoma City, Utah. I mean, Portland's still in the mix.
Pelicans.
New Orleans.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think San Antonio is still going to be good.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I don't really see San Antonio. I don't know why people are writing them off. I mean, they only had Leonard for 9 games last year, and they still finished where they finished, and they added DeRozan now on top of what they had last year.
Yeah, and I'm high on DeJounte Murray. I think he takes a step up.
Yeah, I don't think Danny Green's as big a loss as people are writing that up to be.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's going to be a fun season. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of teams that could take a step forward or going to be interesting to watch at least, you have John Wall at 27. Is that right?
I
the
do.
Wizards?
Yeah, I know some of the commentators. They're thinking that he's too low here, that he should be much higher, and I get it. Um, he's a triple double threat. I think the things that keep him down are the field goal percentage and turnovers. 1.6 steals is pretty nasty, right? With 9 assists. The 3.9 turnovers though, man. 44% field goal percentage. That hurts. That hurts a lot. And I think I was pretty fair in my projections. And so when I plugged them in, this is what spit it out. What's your perspective on Wall?
It's hard. It's hard to say like Donovan Mitchell, to take Donovan Mitchell ahead of John Wall. But yeah, man, I personally, I would probably take Wall over Mitchell. But the extra threes you get from Mitchell and, Wall's turnovers, if Wall can, play a little more team ball and, keep those turnovers down, then, I think he could easily finish as a top 25 player. Is he one of those crazy guys? Like, he just seems so good, but gets like this bad rap. Last year when he was injured and they kept saying, well, the team's better without him. Like,
yeah, I didn't agree with that. Yeah, no, he's still a really good player. He's gonna potential to mess around on every night. So he's there. But from a fantasy perspective though, that field goal percentage, I mean, the assists are lovely. And the D stats are lovely, but the field goal percentage and turnovers, they really knock him down a lot. But head-to-head format, as you and Viz have alluded to in the past, it's easier to punt one category, maybe two categories. So it really depends on your team build. But I kind of side with Craig in the sense that try to go into the draft not punting any categories. But if that's the way things lead, then it is what it is, right? It's not the end of the world. There was one interesting thing. I was listening to a pod over the weekend. I think the guys over at the Roto World guys, and they were doing some mock drafts, and they were kind of saying that shooting guard is not as deep this year. So from that perspective, right, like.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, right, above John Wall, may be viable. But with that said, I mean, they're 26, 27, right? So they're right next to each other. So it's just a matter of preference.
Oh yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
That's the thing about rankings, right? Like it's not like it's just one tool, right? It's not the Bible, it's not the end all be all, and it's just there's just so many other variables that need to be factored in when looking at rankings, right? ADP, team construction. League settings, other owners, things like that, like how you want to build your team. So, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I guess, at the end of the day, Wall does get a little disrespected, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys average those kind of assist numbers with those kind of scoring numbers? And I used to avoid Wall like Superman avoided kryptonite until he started, that 3-point shot started getting more consistent. But since he started getting that more consistent, I mean, he's really stepped up his fantasy game.
Yeah, I mean the D stats are nice too, right? 1.6 steals, almost 1 block, so that's lovely.
Yeah, and he has a full healthy season, and he's one of those few guys that could legitimately average 2 steals a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 1 block from your guard. I mean, that's Josh Richardson status right there.
Yeah, for sure. So what? Where would you put Wall then?
It's hard to argue with anywhere you have him, just because it's that who do you put him ahead of? I don't really see anyone I would necessarily knock out of the top 25 for him. Right. Because like you said, the field goal percentage, the turnovers, it's a little scary. He's one of those guys where you see it. He usually ends up going higher than he should, though, just because of name value. So it's good to have someone look at it from like a non-biased perspective with just the numbers.
Yeah. Do you prefer Lowry or Wall?
Man. It's a good question. I would normally prefer Lowry over Wall. Just you get. I think I don't have Lowry in front of me, but I think he's typically averages more threes. Not as many, quite as many assists, but his turnovers are typically a little bit better too, and you don't lose a whole lot in steals, and you get a lot in free throw percentage. I think like Lowry's typically mid 80s at least.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, he's way more rebounds too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's probably like 3 or 4 inches shorter.
Yeah, it's crazy. But he's built he's built like a football player.
Oh yeah. He's like a bigger Nate Robinson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So look.
Yeah, we got to move at this pace. We're gonna be talking about like.
I know. 28. I got Al Horford. And I think the way that I wrote him up was he's perennially underrated and meh at the same time.
Yeah, you can set it better.
Yeah. He's not jumping out of the page. He's not winning any weeks for you. But yet at the same time, like he's a very valuable asset to have on your team, especially from the big man position, right? You get good shooting percentages, 3, you get blocks, and you get some dimes. So that's great. And I think the one thing that I saw that kind of gives me a little, more optimism for this season, his on-off splits with and without Kyrie. So with Kyrie, the field goal percentage was 7% better. He put up 0.7 threes more. The percentage from downtown was the same, but a full rebound more and a full assist more with Kyrie on the floor. So, obviously a lot of it is predicated on Kyrie's health. And, in the top 25, I did kind of address Kyrie. I'm not too worried about him. I think like what we're talking about on the term, the 2-3 term, if there's any big guys, available down there.
Yep.
I think Horford's probably, obviously depending on your team build, Horford may be a good guy to kind of get right there.
One of my favorite draft strategies the last couple of years that I've had a lot of success with is not drafting like point guards, but drafting big men who get assists. So I had a team last year like Giannis. I was trying to say the last name.
Yeah.
Greek Freak.
Yeah.
Oladipo, Horford, Kevin Love, guys who can give you 3 or 4, 5 assists a night on top of the blocks and the rebounds. And you can go 5 rounds without even drafting a point guard at that point. As long as you pick up, a half decent point guard later on, to kind of round out your assist numbers, you can get away with that as long as you build it around guys like Horford.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Pick up like a Carlson later on or something like that.
Right. No, I agree. And then I think in addition to that, especially with the influx of some of the big man rookies, there's going to be a lot of blocks and rebounds available much later in the draft. Like those specialists. So then you would just have to focus on finding the assist guys, because you'll be able to find blocks later. There's some guys down there. All right, let's go 29. Tobias Harris. I really like him. I didn't really get to see him play much when he was in Detroit, but once he came to LA, I really began to appreciate his game. And I do think the Clippers are going to be sneaky good. They have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent. They're deep, and I think that's going to help them, especially in the regular season. And Tobias, like he can do it all.
He balled out when he got to LA.
He's a really good player, and I think for people that are into narratives and things like that, I think the Clippers offered him like a $80 million extension, and he turned it down. So
hopefully he didn't Nolan himself.
I know, yeah, seriously, but he's betting on himself, and you like to see that swagger, and that he's gonna, I don't know, from a narrative perspective, right? Like, they think that like that's gonna give him more motivation, or that's gonna propel him to ball out more. We'll see, but at the end of the day, he's a really good player, very talented. He's gonna contribute, everything across the board. Maybe a little bit light on blocks, but everything else is good, especially the efficiency numbers are really good.
Oh, did we just?
What's going on here? We got a tornado
I think Craig was going to be jumping in, but we're getting a little static.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Well, I was going to say about Harris while we deal with this thunderstorm here. If he could put up those numbers that he did when he got to LA, and I think he can do better than how he finished the season once he gets used to the system and the players around him. I mean, he's one of those guys who could be one of those Victor Oladipo steal type guys of this draft. Like, here's Oladipo, I think was around the 30 to 40. Do you remember he had Oladipo last season?
He was much lower. I think he was in the 60s. I think.
Oh, was he that low? Okay, so yeah, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself then. But I just see Harris as that kind of guy, like all-star potential, like type of guy. Okay, you can get around the third round area, like 30. I love him. If I can get him on my team this year, I'm going to be targeting him for sure. Hopefully, he's going to have a lot of hype around him. I think in drafts by the time we get there, but.
So?
Maybe. I hope not, because then I'm going to end up with them in every league.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see when all the ADP data comes out from all the sites, because there's a few guys in particular, especially Tobias, that I'm curious to see how the market is valuing him. I don't think people are going to be too high on him personally.
Then I'm all over it. I don't know about you, but if Harris is slipping, I would take him third round for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Solid. 30, Eric Bledsoe. I actually think he's going to be really undervalued too, for some reason. But I mean, those steals, like the 2.1 steals, and then you're getting the rebounds and assists, four rebounds, 5 assists. That's really good. The shooting percentages are a little light. But I mean, I think the Bucks are going to be a really good team too, especially the addition of Brook Lopez is going to kind of open up things for both Giannis and Bledsoe to drive. It's crazy though, because every time I watch him play, he's so built. I feel like he'd be an awesome running back in the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were just talking about Lowry, Nate Robinson. Yeah. He's from that same mold. It's weird. Bledsoe's one of those guys I never ever end up with on my team. But I think I always at least make one trade offer during the season for him though.
Okay. I don't think I've owned him either, just because of the shooting, right? But when you really think about it, he's pretty elite in a couple. Well, he's elite in steals, but then he's above average in points, rebounds, assists.
That's the thing with Lowry, and even I'll throw Nate Robinson back in there, and Bledsoe, is they average way more rebounds than you would think for how they're built. And it's got to be because they could just bully guys out of the way and just You can go over them, but you can't get around them. So
no, they're bulldogs for sure. They're bulldogs. All right, 31 is probably where things get a little interesting. I'll probably get a lot of interesting comments. DeAndre Ayton. The crazy thing is I had him higher initially. When I was just plugging in all the numbers, I think he was in the 20s, and Viz was the first when I went over my projections, he was the first guy that jumped out to me, and he was the first guy that jumped out to Viz as well. And so, we spent actually a lot of time discussing him and going through everything. And the numbers kind of make sense, right? I mean, he's going to get minutes, right? He's going to get minutes. He's playing in the best fantasy environment, the league has to offer. Phoenix, they're not going to play D. They push the pace. They were the number one team in offensive pace last year. Guys are chucking up shots, so there's going to be a lot of rebounds. The thing is the blocks, and that's where we had some discussion. 1.9 blocks in college. So, it's tough. Like I really didn't know in which direction to go. So I kind of kept it a little conservative. So I give him 1.5 blocks, which I think is more than fair, with some upside to that. So double machine, I think. I had him down for 17 and 10. I think that's fair with upside. And elite field goal percentage because it's going to be all dunks and putbacks pretty much, right?
Yep.
And the free throw percentage, low 70s, which is really good from the center position. The crazy thing is, I put in the post was like I heard comparisons that he's the next Karl Anthony Towns or David Robinson, and so I just went back and looked at their rookie year numbers. Towns was 54% field goal, 1.7 blocks, 10 rebounds, 18 points. David Robinson was 24 and 12 with 3.9 blocks.
Dude, the Admiral was ridiculous. Yeah, I forgot how good he was until I read your article.
Yeah, that was crazy. But
people forget, man. People forget.
Yeah, I forgot too. And I always knew that he was good, but man, I didn't think he was like that. But
and that's against like Olajuwon and Ewing and Shaq. Yeah. Like that's not against some 6'9" white guy. That's
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Beast.
So I'm curious. What's your thing on Ayton?
I thought Ayton was, the line on him was he was one of these like unicorn centers, but nobody talks about his outside shooting at all. I don't know if there's any concern that he's gonna maybe be jacking up threes or shooting, outside of a few feet. If he keeps it around the rim, I agree. His field goal percentage, should be elite. It should be a volume, field goal percentage too, not like a John Henson 50%, but it would be a good comparison, it's better than Gobert. Yeah, like a Towns 50%, I guess. I guess Towns is probably the best comparison, although Towns does knock down the threes. So do you think Ayton is gonna get out the distance? Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, I have him down for like 0.2. So like a token 3, maybe in transition, right? When he's the caboose.
Yeah. Do you worry about volume from like Booker, Jackson, Warren? Is there enough to go around for Ayton to?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, that's the best fantasy environment in the NBA. There's like a ton of possessions. They push the pace, so everybody's going to be able to eat. So, yeah, I have no concern from that perspective.
Yeah, then I'm right with you, man. I love Ayton, and I'm in Phoenix, so I'm going to be able to watch him play a lot. Nice. And it's exciting. What's funny is I think he was actually picked in a rookie poll with the best chance to win Rookie of the Year. And I think it comes down to environment. You're right. Like he's in a position where he's gonna probably start. He's gonna get most of the center minutes, and he's gonna touch the ball a lot. Yeah, I love it. I mean, interesting if he has a Karl Anthony Towns rookie year. Can't beat that. It'd be sick.
Yeah. In terms of the rookie of the year thing. I think it's going to come down to he and Doncic. And I think it's going to be the age-old debate of straight numbers versus like team impact, right? Because I think, in a vacuum, Ayton's going to have more numbers. But if Doncic is who I think he is, I think he's going to put up numbers, but not as flashy as Ayton. But I think he's going to have a bigger impact on the team in general, right? Which will lead to more wins. So it'll be very interesting. Yeah, I should go check up the odds actually.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Doncic. I think just in the rookie poll that they did, this is going to be one of my things later, but 18% of people, actually they split between DeAndre Ayton and Colin Sexton as who would win Rookie of the Year at 18%. Yeah, and then Luka Doncic and Kevin Knox at 9%.
That's
crazy. Sexton. There's I don't see Sexton putting up the kind of offensive numbers that would get you a Rookie of the Year. But
I still can't believe people are sleeping on Doncic. That's crazy.
No, yeah, dude, the guy is basically a professional already.
Yeah.
Not like these college guys who.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I don't understand. Whatever. Anyways, all
Yeah.
right. The next two guys, I'll just group them together.
No, your
32,
faves.
33.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamal Murray, Gary Harris. I mean, I love Denver. I love Jokic. I mean, everyone that's read my stuff, like you guys know, I love Denver. In terms of, so I think the interesting thing last year, like they kind of slowed down in terms of pace. Um, but there was a period of time, I think it was like was it mid to late February, where Malone was like, "Yeah, I want to get back to the free flowing, kind of up the tempo pace type of
Was that
game."
when Millsap was
Uh,
out?
it might have been. Yeah, I forgot exactly when, but I do remember, that quote, coming, like during the season. So I think, I mean, if you're building the team around Jokic, right? Like you want that free flowing offense,
Was that
right?
right
You don't
around when
want to.
Jokic got a triple double in like 7 seconds or whatever, or 7 minutes?
Seriously, it might have been. Yeah, it was like first quarter triple double.
Oh my
That was
God!
insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I did have him rostered that night DFS, so it was
Beautiful.
nice. I was like, woo! But anyways,
Yeah.
like I do think that that's the best system that they can run with the personnel that they have and the guy that they built around.
Yep.
So I am expecting an increase in pace. I forgot if I wrote it down or not, but I think they were like 17th or something like that, middle of the pack. So the year before they were top 10. So I'm expecting that pace to get back into the top 10. And if it does, everybody's gonna, and it goes back to the whole macro thing of increased pace, more possessions, right? Things like that, more opportunities. So, but from a more micro perspective, like, both the guys, they shoot, right? Like elite, well, not elite, elite free throw percentage, very good field goal percentage. They're going to score, the steals, right? Gary Harris is going to be 1.7. Murray's going to be 1. I think Murray has, uh, I don't want to say a little bit more upside, just because like both of them are so close, right? But I just feel like we've seen close to a ceiling of Harris. I think like that's the sense that I get. But I feel like we haven't touched the apex of what Murray can do, and so that's why I kind of have him, right above. But like they're very close, 32, 33. Like I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with your comment. What impact will Isaiah Thomas have? I mean,
I
that
think none.
you really
Yeah,
just straight
dude,
backup minutes.
I do. I think I forgot who. It might have been one of the ESPN guys or something, but I'm not sure. But they did make one good point, which I all right. So I kind of concede this aspect of it. Um, if IT's hot,
Mm.
then they'll probably give him a few more minutes to run, right? To kind of just like heat check it, right, and just do his thing, which is fine, right? Like that's what a coach should do, right?
Yeah.
But just from a general perspective, I don't think he's taking over significant minutes from Murray. I think Murray's the guy. He's there to be a backup and to fill in when Murray needs a breather. And I think that's about it. And obviously, there will be a game or here where IT does get hot, and they're gonna let him run a little bit. But over the course of a season, I don't really see it having too much of an impact.
Yeah, I
You
can. Yeah, I can agree with that. But the only thing the only reason I would hesitate slightly is that everywhere Isaiah Thomas goes, that's the beginning of the season note on him. Oh, he'll be a Heat guy off the bench, and then next thing you know, he's like, starting MVP candidate player by the
do?
end of the
Right.
year. So, I mean, I don't know if his injury is ever going to allow him to get back to that, and I feel terrible for the guy. He totally missed out on his bag of money. But man, I just you can't. I wouldn't bet against that kid. But when it comes down to Harris and Murray, I give Harris the edge slightly. Just because I love his help with percentages without hurting you in the other categories.
Yeah, no, that's
He's
true.
a great complement. He's an Otto Porter type guy on your team. You don't build a team around him, but he rounds out a team nicely. And I think Harris also was dealing with a lot of injuries last year. I think a couple of them were like his foot a few times, and that can really mess with you. And he still put up great numbers when he was in there. So, if he can stay healthy, I don't know that he's hit his ceiling just yet. But when you play next to Murray, Will Barton, and Isaiah Thomas, that could dilute all of them just a little bit. But if they can get back up to that top 10 in offensive pace, I think you had them, they said they were 7th. If they can get back up almost, nearly top 5 in offensive pace, then just like with Phoenix, there's going to be enough for everyone to go around. It's really going to come down to their philosophy there. Plus they'll have Millsap back. You can't go wrong with either one of those guys on your team. I would definitely be happy to end up with either one of those guys. I don't know in the 3rd round, but definitely 4th round.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I totally agree. Let's go to the next one. DeAndre Jordan. I'm obviously bullish on Dallas as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luka Doncic is going to really make a really significant impact on that team. And my boo from last year, Dennis Smith Jr., I think he's going to make some improvements. DeAndre Jordan has the perfect guy to give him I'm going to call him the Luka oops. He's going to get a ton of open looks, just dunks, right?
Yep.
Lobs and things like that. And the boards are going to be there. I mean, you know what DeAndre is, right? Points, boards, blocks.
Yep.
Elite field goal percentage, and he's going to hurt you in free throw percentage. So, he is what he is, right?
Yeah,
so
he's trying. He's working on those free throws, and I think he's gotten better every year. But the problem is, it would still take another 20 years in the league to get to somewhere that's not going to kill you on your fantasy league, even with a slight improvement every year. He's another one of those guys I never have on my team. I rarely take a punt. I rarely punt a category. I tend to really just try to draft well-rounded. But yeah, I mean, if your draft is headed towards punt free throw, if your first couple picks, are our low free throw percentage guys or not great free throw percentage guys, and you just want to dive into it, I mean, DeAndre is your man. I'd like to see maybe even more blocks out of him. I think he's capable of it. And I can't wait to see him with Luka and with Dennis Smith, just like you said. I mean, those lobs, this could be one of his best seasons in the league this year. On a team with nothing to lose, with a couple of playmakers, looking to probably, show the Clippers a little bit, something, whether that's warranted or not. And who knows, maybe Dallas has some free throw magician or something that can turn him into halfway decent.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there's 2 things, right? One, I do think that Carlisle opens up everything. And the pace increases in Dallas, so that's one part of the equation. But the second one is someone commented to me that, how could you have DeAndre at 2 blocks when he was at 0.9 last year? I think last year's block number was a total outlier, right? Because his career rate is 1.7, right? Not just 2 years ago he's at 1.7, and then the 3 years before that 2.5, 2.2, 2.3. Right. So, I think 2 is fair. You think that's too high, or?
No. I think he'll be higher. I think he'll be getting back more up into the 2.5. Wow. Yeah, I think. I don't know what his decline. If it is an age thing, and his legs just don't have that lift like they used to, then obviously I'm gonna be really wrong. But
he's only 29.
He's not an old guy. I mean, he's a big guy though. It takes a lot of wear and tear. I mean, his knees are probably 35, but I don't know. I have one of those gut, feelings that, he's just gonna have a really good season. I don't know what it is, this new environment, new coach, being around, Dirk and those guys. Like, I just feel like he's going to be inspired this year. So, he'd definitely be a guy who would be, if I've gone like Steph Curry early on and Kevin Love are really good free throw percentage guys, and but with weak kind of blocks, and I would, he'd definitely be one of those guys I would look at this point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the next two, 35, 36, I'll kind of group them together. Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal. And it's too bad we don't have Craig on here because I know Craig would have loved to, give me a lot of shit on this one. I know he's super high on Bradley Beal, and I get it. But when, I just put everything in, this is where he ends up. I think, shooting guard isn't as deep. So, it may be a good idea to, to scoop up some guys, here, like in the the third or fourth round. I think with Beal, there's always the injury risk. Like on any night he can drop a 50 burger. So the upside is definitely there. The rebounds, he's going to give you close to, 4 rebounds, close to 4 assists. I think last year he was at 6, I think his assists. I don't have it up there, but
with Wall out for exactly. A couple months.
That's because Wall was out. So I don't think you're going to see that assist number this year. The turnovers, 2.1, not bad, but the other guys like Klay and Gary Harris are a little lower, and then I think he's a little light on the D stats compared to like Harris, Klay, and Beal. Like they're so close to me. Mm-hmm. Like it just really comes down to preference, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it. Like Klay is gonna, like you want threes, you're getting Klay, right? If you want a little more rounded, well-rounded game, I guess Beal. If you want, Harris, you're gonna get, higher steals and in a better environment. You're going there. So I don't have an issue in terms of the order of these 3 guys. I feel like they're very close. It just comes down to a matter of preference. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I am a Golden State Warriors fan, but I'm not a huge Klay Thompson for fantasy fan. Obviously he has the ability to drop 50 points in a quarter some nights. So, well, not really, but you know what I mean. And yeah. Bradley Beal, I think of those, man, the 3 guys of Harris, Thompson, and Beal, I'd say Beal probably has the most upside from a fantasy perspective.
I agree with that.
So of those 3, I would definitely probably lean towards Beal. I could see how over the course of a season, though, his numbers, push him down, to under both those guys in your rankings. But if it was a head-to-head league, I'd probably definitely go Beal over those guys.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I'll just leave it there because we can keep moving. We got a bunch to go.
Okay.
and I really can't wait to hear this next one. So.
Yeah. So 37 Kawhi. Kawhi. I know. I mean, if you guys have been listening from the first pod, and you pretty much know my stance on Kawhi. I'm a fade on him, but the thing is like I'm not a complete fade because I acknowledge that there's a chance that he ends up as a top 5 player. So initially, like he was really tough for me because I just wanted to fade him completely. Like I wanted to fade him completely last year, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, and I ended up putting him too high. And so I think that experience last year kind of, maybe biased.
Yeah, the pendulum swung all the way the other way.
No, because I was down on him last year. Like I had some serious reservations of him, but I just couldn't bring myself to put him that low. Right. Yep. So, in a way, maybe it's me kind of compensating.
You would have looked like a genius, though, if you had put Kawhi. I mean, you looked like a genius anyway with your rankings last year. But if you had put Kawhi way down, so we'll see. You're really going for it this season at 37.
Yeah, we'll see. So that means I'm probably right. But people don't care when you're right? They only care when you're wrong.
Right.
So, it really doesn't matter. But all right, so I guess everything is predicated on, I guess, the mental state of Kawhi. I guess that's what it comes down to when I think of it, because he's proved that he's willing to sit out time. Like he proved that last year. Like if he's not happy or if there's a little injury, he's not going to push through because I think his ultimate goal, like I still do believe that he does want to end up in LA.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Lakers or Clippers, that's where things get is open for debate, I think. But because of that, like I just can't put him where I think that a healthy Kawhi should be ranked because a healthy Kawhi is top 10 in my opinion.
Oh yeah, right? His ADP is going to be top 15 probably.
I'm curious. That's where I'm like. That's why I really want to see where like the ADP data comes on a lot of these guys because, you think it's 15? You think that's where it ends up?
I don't know. It's possible because one, like if you look at Yahoo or ESPN or some bullshit site like that, like there's always so many people that that just draft them wherever they decide to rank them. So it'll be interesting to see like where they decide to put them. And sometimes guys coming off missing like whole seasons like that end up pretty lowly ranked on there. Man, I don't know. Did people forget about Kawhi unless they're people like us who think about this stuff all the time?
Like the Roto World guys are like they pretty much have them like they're like I think the mocks had one guy took them in the second round, but then most of the guys were like
too early.
It's probably a little too rich for me. Maybe third round I will scoop them, but I think the caveat that they said was that once preseason comes around and they actually see him play, he's out there, then they might push him back up.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Healthy preseason, he's top 15.
So for me, the injury risk and the mental risk, I just feel it's just too much for me to put him higher.
Are you going to update these rankings though if he looks good preseason?
I may. I think what's going to happen is next week I'm going to put out the 200, and then the week after that I'm going to put out the full. I think I went 331 players deep.
Dang.
So I'm gonna give it to Rudy, and he's gonna put it into like the editable format where you can just scroll and whatever, like do it by the tabs and things like that.
Yep.
So then that'll be out in like 2 weeks, and I think from that sheet, I think I'll try to keep it as updated as possible. So we'll see, but but this particular situation, like honestly, like. I'm not going to change. Okay, so say Kawhi looks healthy in the preseason. For me, that doesn't mean anything. I need to see it for like a month and a half of the regular season for me to kind of get me off of my, my little hill that I'm probably going to die on here.
So if he's there in the third round, you grab him?
I think for me, fourth round.
Okay.
Yeah, I think fourth. But, I would entertain third.
It would be hard to pass if I saw him still sitting there.
Yeah, but I just think that my negative bias is just too much. Where, like personally, like I said, I wanted to put him lower, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, that much. So yeah, I guess fourth round for me.
Imagine you grab like Anthony Davis, first pick, Kyle Lowry. Second round, maybe that's too late. John Wall, then Leonard sitting there when you got back-to-back picks. When you got back-to-back picks, second, third on a snake.
I'll get hurt in the first month.
Yeah, the riskiest team of all time. That team needs to come with insurance.
Yeah, but I don't hate it, right? Because like, you're going for, you're trying to win.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know.
It's not like Kawhi's been known to be like an injury-prone guy. He obviously the thing with Zaza though, that was pretty freak. Landing on Zaza's big foot. These hip things are pretty serious though. Like,
but look at his career, right? Like from his rookie year, right? 64, 58, 66, 64, 72, 74, right?
Yeah.
And so okay, factor in the pop factor. Right, regular season games,
the resting.
Like that. But look at the beginning. Look at the beginning of his career, right? All the 60s. Right?
Yeah, we were giving Kyle Lowry a hard time and he played way more than that over. So you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he, tweaks a little hammy or whatever, and like, since, I already pretty much think like his mind is already on the beaches of California anyways, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, oh man, it's cold in Toronto.
He's got shots of finals though. Yeah.
No, true. So, I mean, what all you guys were saying a couple pods ago, like I totally get it, and like I know that's definitely within the realm of outcomes. Like, these guys are ballers, right? Like, inside the lines, like they just play, the competitive juices get going, and they're all alpha dogs, right? So like they want to get theirs. So, I totally get that, but yeah, I just can't get it out of my head that like he's proven that he's willing to sit out games, and there's a good chance that he misses, a lot of games, whether it be through physical injury or through just, mental apathy.
Yeah. So, have you ever heard Leonard give an interview?
No, I have not. That's why he's probably like a Westworld.
I thought it'd be funny if, like, they give him an award. He's like, "Hey, thank you very much. This is the best award." And you're like, "What?"
I like to give him the Urkel voice or something.
Yeah. Can I do that?
Yeah. Hey, do that. 38. Robert Covington. I mean, this is pretty. Don't really have to go too much into it. He's Otto Porter light, right?
Yep.
The only thing is, like, he just jacks up some really shitty shots, so his field goal percentage is really bad. But like outside of that, I mean, he's contributing, like boards, not too many dimes, but it's the D stats, right? 1.8 steals is very nice, and close to a block a game, and Philly's gonna be good, and he's a pretty, as much as Philly fans kind of cringe when he's on the court, especially on the offensive end. He is very valuable from a defensive perspective, so he's gonna be on the court a lot, and that in of itself is half the battle. So.
Yeah, he's one of those frustrating fantasy players, because the potential's there, and he'll have one of those like games where he just fills it up, where he's got 25 points, 12 boards, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 4 threes, and then the next game he'll have like 6 points, and he'll go like 0 for 8. So he's tough. He's tough to own. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, even if like Fultz comes back, his minutes are going to be there, like you said. It might limit. I like where you have him around 12 points a game. I think that's fair. So yeah, if you need those D stats, I mean, he's a guy to look at, and you have good shooters. Yeah. But I'd like this next guy. I like your next guy better. If you're looking for D stats.
You're a Warriors fan, so I'm gonna defer to you on this one. I just want to mention one thing though. A lot of guys were coming at me saying that he was too low here. So let me hear your thoughts.
That's funny. That was my first thought when I saw him down at 39, because I mean, his stats across the board are crazy. But he's one of those other guys who I don't like drafting, but I like trying to trade for during the season. Okay. And people are usually like, no way, you can't have him. Right. The points are frustrating with Draymond, and he really doesn't even have that potential to blow up even. I mean, Covington at least has the potential to occasionally give you 20 to 30 points. Draymond rarely does, unless Curry and Durant happen to be out. But the blocks, the steals, the assists, the boards, everything is elite. You get a 3 out of him. I mean, I put him right up there with kind of like Al Horford, where he's one of those guys you can get away with not drafting a point guard if you draft Draymond. But I think there's no way that he's available at 39 in almost every draft. So by putting him at 39, I think you're basically saying like you're not going to be drafting him if you're following my rankings.
Yeah,
is that what you're thinking?
No, just as I said, like I tried to take out as much subjectivity as I could, in these rankings, because 2 years ago, there was a lot of subjectivity on my part, and like I think there's good and bad to both ways of doing it, right? I just felt like I didn't feel as comfortable doing it that way. So like this year I wanted to kind of just hone everything down and just, refine everything and, just have, let the numbers speak for themselves. Because I know a lot of times, like I have certain biases that affect my rankings both positively and negatively, which, they shouldn't, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially basketball, because it's one of the more predictable sports, right?
Yep.
Just because there's so many opportunities, so many possessions, things like that. Now, with that said, um, the rankings, the numbers by themselves are not the end all be all, right? And like, for example, like some of these guys are so close, right? So, a lot of it comes down to, roster construction, what's your first pick, like who you pick with your first two, in the first two rounds, like it really determines a lot on who you're going in round three, right?
Yep.
So, by me having Draymond here, it wasn't necessarily me being like, oh, I don't like Draymond, and like I'm gonna put him here. It was more of like, all right, let me just allocate, the minutes, the usage, things like that, and then let the computer kind of, spit out where he is ranking from a numbers perspective. But then from there, right, like for example, like say I'm good at, like, I don't know, I just like say I have, shooting guards. Like I drafted a shooting guard in, the first round. I don't know, or say like I scooped up Mitchell or whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and then the next round, um, he's sitting there. Um, or what if I went like, no, so okay, I'm sorry. Say I went, yeah, so okay, if I went like say guard heavy or backcourt heavy, if he's there, then yeah, it's a possibility. But if I go, big man's and he's there, probably not taking him,
Yeah.
right? Or I don't know, maybe that's a bad example. I probably did a terrible job explaining things right there. But
I'd say like if you
basically,
had a team with like Klay Thompson and Donovan Mitchell on it, or you're in a smaller league and you need to round it out, or I know what you mean though, like
it's
where
just
you're missing, yeah.
all context. It's all context, right? It's all your team context. So,
I thought his field
um,
goal percentage was better. Is he really just down at 44?
well, that's factoring in volume. It's volume
Yeah.
weighted,
Okay.
and that's one of the things I wanted to do. Let me give you the exact
I
numbers, like
think
what he put up.
Draymond. Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with it, and that's why I initially
So
thought, oh
45.
man,
Yeah.
yeah, I initially thought 39, and then I saw his field goal percentage. Like, well, yeah, that could bump him down a bit, and the free throw percentage,
Yeah.
adjusted for
So
volume, I'm sure too.
yeah.
But
So yeah, like I said, like so just it's all it's just in a vacuum, right? Without context. Like if I was picking much higher and he was there, there's a chance I would take him. It all depends on you know, how my team is looking, how just
yeah,
it's just so to me, I think Viz made a really good point, like when he said like he does his hockey rankings and he doesn't like putting rankings per se. He just likes to put them in tiers, which is probably a better way of doing things. Just because some people like sometimes we get so fixated on, oh, he's one and he's this guy's five, or this guy's 7 or 9, whatever. Like at the end of the day, really, it's really not that big of a deal. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
so just in a vacuum, I guess, like it is, but like it's things cannot be taken in a vacuum, right? Just like everything that we use is a tool, right? Whether it be ADP data, whether it be rankings, opinions of people that you follow, like it all fits into the puzzle, like to try to crack the matrix, right? So,
yep.
so okay, so sorry about that rant. I know I did
Yeah,
like a
no, no,
horrible
no.
job.
Yeah, well,
Just trying to,
guys like Draymond are those kind of puzzling guys. And it, there is a specific team that they work really well on, but most constructed teams, by the time you get down to around where he's going to go, he's probably someone to avoid. But in some scenarios, he's a perfect fit. But you hardly ever see him on teams that are winning their league. If that makes any sense. I don't know.
yeah, no, I hear you. So okay, so probably Draymond and Otto Porter are probably the two most highly debated players in fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like, would you put them in the same category of like type of fantasy player, or Draymond gives you a little bit more, right? But I mean,
Yeah. In a
the
sense that they're
argument,
sort of like
argument is kind of the same.
rounder, outer kind of guys.
Yeah, they're not gonna win you a week, but they're solid. Like the floor is super high, so like they're very valuable to certain team builds, but like
Yep.
the upside is definitely limited. Where I don't know, Draymond I guess has a little higher upside because he can go triple dub, but I don't know. They're kind of similar in that sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, if your team's like on a scale and one side of the scale's like really, really tipped, Otto Porter, Draymond Green, those guys are good for helping to bring that scale back to even. Whereas I try to keep that scale even the whole time, but sometimes you don't have a choice. You can't do it how you want. So if you're looking at your team and you're thinking like, man, I got a lot of shooters, good percentages, good threes, really weighted that way, but I need and they score, but I'm not getting a lot of the other stuff. Then Draymond's someone you can bring on to balance out. If you got a lot of big man stats, then Porter's like one of those guys you can use to sort of balance out the other side. Look at Harris is kind of one of those guys too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember Draymond's ADP last year? I don't remember.
He was.
I'm trying to.
I remember him going at least. I thought he was at least in the top 30.
Is he really?
I thought he was above Klay. But I could be wrong.
Okay, that's where he ended up getting drafted, right? Not like final, not where he ended up.
Right. Where I saw him being drafted. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to find the ADP data. Oh well. Yeah, I guess he usually goes like third round, I guess, right?
Yeah. That's about right.
Okay. All right.
If I find it, I'll let you know.
I think we've gone on enough of a tangent on Draymond. So, all right. Next guy is LaMarcus Aldridge. I've never been a big Aldridge fan. I just think he just I don't know, for a big guy he's so soft, right? But
he impressed me last year though.
He's very skilled. He's very skilled in the post, and he can shoot. He shoots the three a little bit.
Yahoo had Draymond around 28 and Klay around 26.
Oh wow. Okay, so yeah, so third. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep, no problem.
Back to Aldridge. High usage rate. That's probably going to come down a little bit with DeRozan in town, but field goal percentage is decent. Double threat. A little light on the steals, give you a little bit of blocks. And there's always the pop factor that you have to worry about.
Yep.
He's not going to get the full complement of minutes and games. But with that said, like he puts up points, right? And the easiest way to fantasy production is points, scores. So
yep.
Yeah. So like I hate seeing LaMarcus here, and I hate drafting him, but you look at the numbers, like he puts it up, so there's no denying that.
Good volume on the percentages. Sure. He can even shoot the three a little bit now.
A little bit, but yeah, they just don't. San Antonio was like 27th in 3-point attempts of the team or something like that. So I think that's like a more of a cultural thing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It'd be interesting now with DeRozan and Danny Green gone. Like, they might have the lowest amount of threes in the last 10 or 15 years for a team.
It might be. Yeah, they might be less. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and Ginobili might retire now. So, yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, I'm with you on Aldridge. He's just kind of boring. I tend to avoid him. But you can't. I mean, those numbers are sick, though. Like, that's crazy.
They're solid.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
He shouldn't be as boring as he is, but he is.
Yeah, agreed.
This next guy, though, he's exciting.
Yeah, shocker, Denver Nugget. Will Barton. For me, so he contributes across the board, but I think for me the thing that's most appealing about him is his versatility, and because of his versatility, that gives him a high minutes floor because the coaches, they want him on the floor, and he's able to play multiple positions on both ends of the court, so that gives him a very high floor. And we've seen his ceiling at times. He's not consistent, but like he can drop 30 burgers, 40 burgers on any given night. And as we mentioned earlier, with Murray and Harris, I think the environment, the offensive pace is going to increase in Denver, which should benefit everybody.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I love Will, and it's crazy that, all the publicity that McCollum and Lillard get in Portland, and you have those three Nuggets all ranked above McCollum, who's
42,
who, spoiler alert, is next on the list. That's crazy. But I love Will. I get Barton on my team a lot, it seems like. But I think this year, the hype train might be moving a little too fast. I think he's gonna be more on the radar this year.
Okay. All right. Let me hear your CJ.
I think CJ has been talking a lot lately. Now, have you heard all this podcast stuff with him? Talking about how he would never play for a super team, and then he had Durant on as being all buddy when Durant was on his podcast, and then he totally trash talked him like behind his back. So I don't know what's going on with CJ mentally this season. I don't know what it's going to lead to. Yeah.
It's not good for him.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of angry about that these super teams are probably going to cost him a chance to win a championship on a really good Portland team. In a lot of years, would be a top team, but not with the way the West is. But I like CJ a lot. I think he's kind of he's a lot like Klay Thompson, and he's one of those guys where he's a good fit on a team if you've kind of gone big man heavy early on. I don't know that he'll be available at 42 though. I think his ADP is probably going to be better. Just if anything, based off name recognition. Yeah. So
he goes higher. For sure.
Yeah, I think you have him more where he should be, and I think his ADP is going to be too high for me to go for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. But I think this the shooting guard depth has really got me thinking about things. So I'm just going through it right now. All right. So the top guys: Harden, Depot, Holiday, Mitchell, Harris, Klay, Beal, Barton, McCollum, Booker, Lou. I guess they have Doncic as a shooting guard. I'm not sure how they'll go. But then, so I think I would stop it there. Right. So that's 11 guys. Right.
Yeah.
And then below, Redick, Levine, Batum, DeRozan. Excuse me. Those are fine guys, but that's a pretty big teardrop from the top 11 guys, right?
Yeah, it's pretty top heavy.
Yeah. So I think there is something to the shooting guard depth aspect of it. I don't know if I would feel comfortable reaching for any of those guys, but I think you want to grab one of those guys. Yeah, up to I guess Booker, Williams. That's probably the tier break right there. So yeah, I guess CJ. Yeah, but like you said, he's probably not going to be there. So.
Yeah, I'd be happier avoiding Harden in the top of that shooting guard list, and I'd be happy grabbing other positions up top there and grabbing a Booker or something. The bottom of that list, because even the bottom of that top tier is really strong.
Yeah, Booker. Yeah, Booker's nice. I don't know, man. I mean, you know how I feel about Houston, so I have thoughts of
Harden's money for sure.
Yeah, Harden over Davis. I have thoughts on it. So
it's hard to argue with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So who would you put McCollum over Klay? You put him above there? Harris in the Harris range?
I think McCollum gets more chances than Klay, just because of the Warriors have Durant and Curry, and McCollum's really kind of the second option.
Yeah.
In Portland, so I think he's got more upside. I think probably more upside than Beal too. But for whatever reason, he just, I'd probably put CJ over Beal and Klay, but definitely in the same tier.
Yeah, they're close.
Yeah.
I think he just the D stats. He's a little light on the D stats compared to those guys.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. That's where. Yeah, that's going to be the. You never hear of CJ as a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Just yeah. But I mean, if Lillard goes down, then.
Oh yeah. All aboard. Yeah. For sure.
Crazy.
Now let's get to Simmons because we got some opinions on this.
All right. Simmons is, man, triple doubles. That's sick. Like basically 15, 8, and 8 with 1.6 steals and 1 block, which is so nasty.
It's so frustrating that he's so bad at free throw shooting.
Insane. Yeah. 63%.
That's generous. Yeah.
And then, 3.4 turnovers is really bad. So, I just can't put him higher, with that. And I think the way that Boston defended him in the playoffs last year, you're gonna see that more and more this year.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna take time for Ben to adjust to that because, teams are not stupid, right? They see tapes.
Oh yeah.
They see tape and they're gonna implement the same strategy. So, I think I was pretty kind of generous on his field goal percentage, to be honest with you. I could see that, coming down significantly, which would, knock him down more. But, with that said, he's still gonna, he's still a nightly, threat to mess around, and the D stats are gonna be there. So the floor is relatively high. It's just too bad that his ceiling is capped. I know you had some things about him changing hands with shooting.
Yep.
So you think that makes a real impact?
I don't know. I mean, I heard it before the summer, and I kind of laughed it off. I thought that's got to be a joke. But now I'm reading about it again, that this is legit. Like, I guess he's legitimately right-handed. Like, he does everything right-handed. He just and he finishes around the rim right-handed. He just shoots left-handed from when he gets deeper. So I'm like, maybe, but there's no way that he hasn't tried that at some point in it. I know he's young, but still, like, at some point he must have tried to shoot right-handed and it didn't go well, so he went back to left or something, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I just hope that the guy that's put the thought in his head to change his shot isn't the same guy that was helping out Markel Fultz last year.
Yeah.
Then we're in trouble.
Well, I was just thinking Drew Hanlon's being wasted on Fultz. Just get him to Ben.
No, I mean, I'm really, I'm pretty bullish on that, actually. But the funny thing is even with that aspect, like, I think Hanlon's going to help Fultz a lot. Even with that, like, I increased a lot of his stats. And so I thought Fultz would be, pretty high in my rankings. But even with that, nah, he's really low still, which is which is a shame.
He's still basically a rookie this year. I mean,
it's true. That's true.
Man, I love Ben Simmons though. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, sorry.
Like, I was just gonna say I just love Simmons. Like, I think he's just, he's so much fun to watch. Like, the team's just crazy, but it's so funny just to watch him. Like, you just know he's not gonna shoot it. Like, I can't think of another player who I just was watching and just knew he wasn't going to shoot. And that now the teams know he's not going to shoot. Just keep him in front of you. Make him shoot it. The only way that he's going to get to that elite tier of player is by learning to shoot. And it'd be crazy to see if he could do it. I mean, I don't see how an athlete like that can't figure it out. Like, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, how is someone like the number one pick in the draft can't shoot? Like, it doesn't make any sense saying that out loud. But
I agree. Well, there's guys that can't make free throws, right? And they're professional athletes, right? So
it kind of makes sense. Like, the big men with their hands being so big and like,
See, I disagree with that, right? Because so the analogy would be like us like shooting a Nerf basketball, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I've done it. I figured it out over time.
That's true. Enough. Well, then, then it's just mental, I guess. But is Simmons' jump shot just mental at this point? Like, I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's like there's been times I've gone to the park and played, and there'll be a guy. He gets so far into someone's head, like he'd be like, "Yo, I'll give you that J. I'll give you the J. It's all day." And he doesn't even stand there and watch them. He just starts walking to the basket to get the rebound,
Yeah.
and like kept doing it. Guy couldn't make it, right?
Yeah.
And just kept giving him a shot. Can't make it. Can't make it. And at some point, right? It gets you mentally. So I think like worst case scenario, right? Like if he, has to start making that J, and teams are gonna give it to him, and if he can't make it, I mean, at some point, like there's a chance that it affects his assists, right?
Yeah.
And it could affect it could just snowball and affect the rest of his game, where like, he doesn't, play as hard on D because he's thinking about, what, his offensive, limitations. I don't know. I mean, there's a chance that things could snowball from there. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of adjustments, or if he is able to develop his jump shot. But it's just mind-boggling that even without a J, he can shoot 50% and go 15, 8, and 8 basically. That's like crazy.
Oh, I mean, because he's so long. Like watching him drive to the lane is just beautiful. But I mean, it's like say what you will about Lonzo, at least he's not afraid to shoot, and he has the ugliest shot ever. But he still hucks it up, and he's making threes. It's like Simmons can't at least do that. Like maybe he needs to shoot from the other side of his body. Like maybe just just whatever. Just have Lonzo come over and show him how to shoot. Like something. Yeah. Make one a game. Like that's it. One a game. Make like one three a game, and he jumps up 20 spots in the standings. But
for sure.
All right, this next guy, I could go on Simmons all night. This next guy, this could be your maker. This could be the Sun won me my league ranking, or the. He seems high to me, but I guess low.
Like
I don't know.
A lot of people are high on him. I remember Viz was talking about.
Yeah.
Viz mentioned him last week, and I heard the Roto guys were very high on him too. So it's going to be interesting to see, where the market prices him. But yeah, I'm very bullish on him. He's super long. He's a beast in transition. Just the way that the Nets operate, they spread out the court. They run a lot of, pick and roll dive action. There's going to be a lot of space in the middle of the court for him to whether finish off alley oops or just straight bounce passes to him. The environment there is great too. Brooklyn was, I think they're top 5. I'm pretty sure top 5 in pace, maybe top 10. There's gonna be a lot of possessions. So elite field goal percentage, double possibility, the 1.7 blocks, and 75% free throw volume adjusted. That's really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, man.
Your thoughts?
Yep. Jarrett Allen is full on sleeper of the year right now, I think. He's making it. He's mainstream sleeper status at this point. And I liked him. I liked him a lot. You brought him to my attention kind of last year, and I was one of those guys picked him up. Same with John Collins. They were two guys that I was kind of getting disappointed by all season just because I kept waiting for him to break out. But that typically means the next year is going to be the year. So I like having these guys next to each other here in your rankings. Another spoiler alert: John Collins is coming up. But yeah, I think on a team like the Nets, who aren't really playing for anything, but aren't gonna. We already showed that they're not gonna throw in the towel. They're gonna play hard. They got young guys who want to prove themselves, and this guy's gonna have a ton of opportunities to block shots, rebound, and give you that field goal percentage without killing you in free throws. So he's a guy, like, if you just decide that DeAndre is not worth it, or you want to have a well-rounded team, just wait and go for Jarrett. You don't need to feel pressure to grab a boards and blocks guy with a low free throw percentage, because there's guys like Allen and Collins coming up who aren't going to kill you in free throws and can still give you the pretty elite block numbers stuff that you need. But Allen's definitely more of a block guy than Collins.
Definitely.
So, if you're getting to this point and you're not liking where your blocks are at, it would be a good time. He's definitely a good guy to grab because he's not going to kill you anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think this kind of coincides with what you and Craig were talking about, that center being relatively deep.
Yeah.
This year, where there's guys that you can't get. So, I guess that in conjunction with, the shooting guard lack of depth, that maybe kind of fits. Maybe that's the way to conquer the puzzle right there, right? To pay up shooting guard and pay down center possibly.
Yep.
And yeah, so I guess it depends who you go in rounds 1 and 2. But yeah, there's definitely guys here.
Get those elite wings.
Collins.
Get those elite wings early, and then the next 5 of 6 guys are centers, I think, coming up.
Centers. So there's a lot of guys here. Collins, I mean, I loved him last year. I mean, watching him in summer league, I was really impressed. He was a beast in transition, and just the way that he moves around, he's kind of I don't know, like a gazelle, not a gazelle, but I don't know, when he jumps, I feel like I was looking at a pogo stick or something.
Yeah, he's like Tigger or whatever on. He's one of those guys who can miss a layup and then he's up and dunking his own putback, before anyone else gets. Yeah.
For sure. And I think for me the most important thing not most important, but the thing that really impressed me the most was his offensive repertoire. He has a really nice mid-range jumper. I've seen him shoot a 3. I don't know how much volume he's gonna do, from downtown, but he has a really, really smooth shot. And with the addition of Trae Young and Herter, I think they're gonna push the pace as well in Atlanta, and there's gonna be a lot of opportunities, which is gonna help him both, scoring opportunities, but probably rebounds. And, you mentioned the blocks, Jarrett Allen being, more proficient in that department, but I mean, he's still at 1.3, which is only 0.4 behind, well, not only, but, it's 0.4 behind Allen, which is a respectable number, right?
Yep.
And the free throw percentage is going to be in the, probably, 72%. So, like you were saying with Allen, you don't need to sell out for the blocks and double doubles, rebounds, things like that, at the expense of free throw percentage when there's 2 guys, the tier right below, that, won't put you too far behind.
Yeah, and all that being said, I might like the guy at number 46 the best.
Really? Interesting.
He's one of those guys that he does across the board. His assists are better than most centers. He blocks over 1 a game. He doesn't get a lot of turnovers. He'll get you a steal. I think the boards could be even a little low. Points even a little low. He shoots threes at enough volume to give you, he's a legit 3-point shooter.
He is.
And he always, you look at his numbers, he has some injuries. He's got, there's some bombas there on the Magic. We're talking about Nikola Vucevic. I don't know why people always kind of sleep on this guy, but I think this season is a good season to grab him because I think he's finally going to be right around his real value. I think in maybe the last couple seasons he went a little higher than he should have, but I think this season, for whatever reason, I feel like this season people are sleeping on him a bit, but it could just be. I don't know. Why do you think? What puts Collins? I know you're being objective with these rankings, but I could tell just you're more of a Collins Allen fan at the end of the day as well. But what do you think?
I mean, they're giving you, the 3-pointers are nice, but those other guys are giving you better D stats. And I think that's usually what you're trying to search for, right, for the big man, especially in this area of the draft. Threes, I think threes are the easiest thing to get, or the most readily available. I think that you can scoop off the waiver wire. With that said, though, like you said, the complete package is really nice for Vucevic. Um, you know, interestingly, he made the 1-1-1 club, so which is like 1 3-pointer made, 1 steal, and 1 block per game, which is very elite company. Like
Yeah.
usually every year, it's less than 10 guys, I think.
I think,
They're,
and either 2 or 3 of them are named Nikola. Right?
Doncic, and who's the other one?
Vucevic,
Oh,
Nikola
Vucevic.
Vucevic,
Oh, I thought you
Jokic.
said there's one guy.
Yeah, I
There's
thought.
two
Oh,
guys.
Mirotic.
I don't think Mirotic. I don't think.
He didn't average
But
a
he might be
block.
close.
He's gonna be
He might be
close though. Yeah, those Nikolas are gonna be pushing it.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. So I mean, if you want it all comes down to perspective. Oh, not perspective, but preference.
Yeah.
If you want the well-rounded, high floor, type of guy, then Vucevic. But if you're looking for specific categories, then you go to whichever guy fits your team build the best. You did touch on the injury aspect of it, and I think that's a pretty big component to Vucevic as well.
Yeah.
He's never played 80 games. He's never played more than 77 games in a season. And there's 3 seasons out of 7 where he went 50.
Yeah.
Right? So that's pretty big.
I think he's got back problems.
Yeah, which is terrible for a big man, right? Back and legs.
Yeah, it's ended careers. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you definitely have to keep that into consideration when you think about Vooch. But yeah, there's 3 guys right there, right? 3 centers: Allen, Collins, Vucevic. I think Collins and Allen are a little more similar. Vucevic is more of like the complete package. So just a matter of which way you want to go. Let's just I'll skip Booker and just go to Kanter and Turner because those are 2 more centers.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's only 4 guys, so it makes sense since we're talking about centers.
Kanter, I just don't like, man.
I'm not a
no blocks. I don't like centers that don't block.
Yeah, you're not getting any of these guys. But it's pretty much like a guaranteed double-double.
The boards are tasty. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, 15 and 12. He was 10th in the league with 39 last year. The field goal percentage is elite, 58%, and then the free throw percentage is really good. So offensively, like if you need an offensive center, like Kanter's your guy. And I think this is with the depth chart being pretty loaded at center for the Knicks last year. Yeah, and now O'Quinn and Hernan Gomez are now gone. So, and I don't think Porzingis plays that much.
No.
So that just opens up more minutes for him. Yeah. So if you need the offensive, if you need offense from the big man, I think Kanter is a really good option. And then right below him at 49 is Myles Turner, who I was super high on last year. Kind of disappointed. His minutes were all over the place. His just offensive production was all over the place. But he's still so young, 21 years old.
Well, he admitted to showing up out of shape last season.
Okay.
And I guess this off season he's gone to like a no carb, kind of one of those keto diet. I guess he lost like a lot of body fat, put on muscle. He's like I think he realized like he can't slide by on just pure talent at the NBA level.
Right.
Like you have to put in the work if you want to be in the elite. And he's saying all the right things.
Okay.
To make me give him a pass because I got burned by him last year too.
Yeah. I mean the potential is there, right? Like when he was struggling. Yeah, I mean, he was still putting up, close to 2 blocks a game.
Yeah.
So the blocks were always there, but like if you're saying like what you're saying, if it's true and it comes to fruition, you're getting elite blocks, very good free throw percentage, close to like he's shooting 3 colas, so you're gonna get close to 1 a game.
Yep.
And then the field goal percentage, because he shoots from the outside so much, isn't as good as like other big men, but there's the potential for double doubles from him as well. So I guess upside-wise, he probably has the most upside out of all those guys, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could see him close to 2 blocks a game, plus closer to probably 18 points a game.
Yeah.
18 and 8 is
18
not
and
out
8,
of the realm. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy with close to like a 3 per game. Yeah, that would really put him up. I don't know, like in the 20s.
No, that's like Vucevic level.
Yeah, no, that's much higher than Vooch.
Oh yeah. I mean, 18-8 with 2
Yeah,
blocks. Yeah, forget it. Yeah,
like
yeah.
20s or something.
I could see. I
That'd
mean,
be crazy.
Sabonis is going to take another step forward though. So that I mean, and they don't. I mean, I guess can they play next to each other? They tried
They
that
did play. They
last year
did
a
play
little bit,
some
right?
next
Yeah.
to each other. Um, yeah, they did play some. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't think it was as effective. You know.
Yeah, and Oladipo, he's a usage hog, but
Yeah.
someone else has got to score too, and clean up the misses. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, there's definitely potential there. All right, let's finish out these last two guys.
I
Devin
like
Booker.
both these next two guys, by the way.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
starting with Turner, and then these last two guys, I'd be
okay,
happy to
yeah,
stack both those guys.
yeah. Likewise. Booker. We're talking about Phoenix being the best, environment for fantasy. The guy is a professional bucket getter. Like he can score on anybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
elite score.
yeah, elite scorer. The field goal percentage isn't. You're gonna take a hit there, and the turnovers are gonna be high. You won't get blocks, but steal per game is nice. I think the great thing about Booker is that um, every year in the league he's increased his assist every year. So I think like
Yep.
two, for rookie year was like two, then it went to three, it was like four something last year, and I could see that getting up to five. I mean, if that gets up higher than five, then like it's gonna be a huge leap because the points and the threes are gonna be there. Um,
Yeah, and
so really,
they haven't addressed point guard really. I mean, it's not like Okabo is a rookie. No matter how good he is, he's not going to play a whole lot. And then who's got like Shaq Harrison or
yeah, they got
it,
Brandon Knight.
yeah, coming off ACL, like his third ACL.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah, no,
I used to be,
yeah,
but yeah, burned me
yeah, no,
twice.
you're right. He's gonna have a lot of usage, for sure.
Well, I can see him
Um,
playing a lot with Jackson at the two, Booker handling it. Jackson and Warren on the wings with Booker bringing it up, like
oh yeah, they could
you
do
know
that. Yeah, Booker Jackson in the backcourt, Warren at
like
the
Ayton
small.
and Chris or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ayton at center, Chris at power forward. Yeah, or they could go. Yeah, yeah, no,
or
that could definitely
Bender.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they have a lot of options for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day, like he's the man there. Um, and the addition of Ayton could open up some things for him, right?
yep, yeah. I mean,
Possibly.
if he doesn't have to force it as much and he gets cleaner looks, and Jackson stepping forward too. A healthy season from Warren. I mean, I could see that field goal percentage getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets an increase in field goal percentage and somehow gets like point 0.5 blocks, man, that's like a huge, huge. But with the bump and assist, that really, really, vaults him up big time. Um, so yeah, like for example, like I remember I was just um, I'm writing up the top 200 now, and I was going through Andrew Wiggins, and like man, like just like the two like just on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Like Booker, like they can both score. They're both very athletic, but Booker, actually every year shows development in his game, right? Whereas Wiggins has remained static for like 4 years. Like there's no, right? No development. There's no, increase in any type of, efficiency or assist or anything. And it's just crazy how
Every
how
Minnesota fan out there is yelling at you right now, going, "We noticed, son. You don't have to rub
yeah.
it in."
Hey, yeah, I remember that. Well, that's one thing I can tell you from last year was like that's the hill that I was willing to die on. That Andrew Wiggins was terrible, and they shouldn't have given him that contract. Like there were some guys that were like, dude, why do you have Wiggins so low? Like, why are you hating on Wiggins? And I was like, come on, like he
Yeah,
doesn't do anything.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a straight black hole. But all right, before like karma comes and like
I know they were drafted
like
together,
I
right? I think Jabari Parker is gonna leapfrog Wiggins this year. Remember back when they were like, was it Parker or Wiggins was gonna be the top
yeah,
guy? Like I think
yeah.
Parker has a chance to leapfrog him which is sad because Parker's coming off that has no knees, and Wiggins.
It's like,
Yeah,
well, you know, it's funny.
Wiggins
It's
should be
like,
running away with this competition.
well, well, you know, to me, it's like, I know you love your boy Zach LaVine, right? And
Yeah, I'm standing by it. I'm standing by it. I'm a little nervous about my prediction, but I'm gonna stand.
like to me, Wiggins, LaVine, and Jabari Parker are basically like three black holes in the universe.
Yeah.
Like what would happen if they all got onto the court, the same court at the same time? Like maybe just like I don't know, like the whole like
Do
everything
another
would
Big
just
Bang.
like, exist. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be too much, just because they're so similar. But anyway, all right, this last guy, Mike Conley. Um, obviously everything is predicated on his health. Um, all indications are that he's healthy and he's ready to go. I've always liked Conley. He's never been like a flashy guy, but he's gonna give you those assists. Um, Good free throw percentage, field goal percentage is but the threes, points, steals. Um, and I think for me, like after his 16th season when he just went absolutely bonkers, like he was overrated and overdrafted last year. And I think the pendulum is going to swing back the other way. I have him at 50 now. I'm very curious to see uh, where the market is going to price him. But I feel like he's going to be a pretty good value. And I think that Minnesota team is. Oh, I'm sorry, the Memphis team is going to um, be very good actually, resurgent. They have an influx of talent.
Yeah, I
Kyle
agree.
Anderson. Yeah, I love Jaren Jackson Jr. And I think Marcus Gasol is going to be rejuvenated. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of style they end up playing. Are they going to go grind it out? I don't know. I could see them opening it up a little bit. Which would be good for fantasy, obviously. But at the end of the day, I just feel like Conley is going to be, underappreciated and underrated, and I think he's going to, possibly be one of the better values come draft season.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I think of him and of him and Gasol both coming off down seasons. I think that Connolly has the better chance of having the better kind of comeback season of the two. Because he's the point guard, he's going to be handling the ball. He's going to have the ball in his hands. The dude can shoot, he can pass, he can steal. I don't know what is what how the injury is going to affect him health wise, but if he's even 80% based on where I think he'll be drafted, he's going to be a steal. But I almost don't even want to talk about him, even though it's sort of our selected jobs, but I don't want any I almost don't want to put any word out about him until I have my drafts, just so no one else can hear about him. But I love it. I think him and Gasol. I think Memphis in the West is gonna be them like the Mavericks. I think they're gonna give people. There's not gonna be any easy games.
Kings and Suns. Kings and Suns will be
even they
right.
even they're have fun rosters though. With the players they added, they're going to be fun to watch at least the development of those guys. But you're right, they're going to be laid down.
They're going to be terrible. Yeah. Guaranteed wins. So, but yeah, the rest of that Western Conference is really diesel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be fun. So what, we've been going about a little over an hour?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think hit the top 50. Next week we'll wrap up the top 100. Hopefully we'll have the full group back together. We'll try to throw some other topics. So check out Suns rankings on basketball.razzball.com. And then I'm also posting some YouTube videos on Razzball Fantasy Basketball YouTube. So these some daily videos and our podcasts there and on the website. We'll be on Twitter. We'll link it below. Any parting words, son, before we call it a night?
Yeah, the 100's out, the top 100. I'm working on the top 200, which will be out next Wednesday. And then, as I referenced earlier, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna send the list to Rudy, and then we're gonna put it into I don't even know what that is, if it's Excel form or whatnot, but there'll be a
Yeah.
chart. So that'll be in like a couple weeks. But soon I'm gonna send out the I guess links to the RCLs. We'll start getting that going up soon, and then I'm gonna probably put out a post soon in terms of like if any of you guys are interested in writing and providing content for Razzball. So before the post comes out, if any of you guys are interested, just hit me up either on Twitter at Stan_Sun or email me at sson75@gmail.com, and then we'll see what we can do. Other than that, it's always fun talking hoops. Too bad Viz and Craig weren't with us, but I definitely had a good time with you tonight, Brent, and hopefully we could get the whole crew back up next week.
Yeah, man, always fun. You've helped me win many leagues, so I appreciate it. And these rankings will help you guys win too. And if you want to be a part of the team and write for Razzball and you love talking hoops, join the team, man. We'd love to have you. The more content, the better. It just gives more and more stuff on a daily basis for people to read when they come to the site. And it's going to grow. I have a feeling, we're right on that tipping point of pushing it to the baseball popularity of Razzball. So
I don't know about that. That's like
watch out, Gray. We're coming for you.
Yeah, that's like the holy grail right there. But
hey, you got to aim high.
Here.
Yep, you're right.
We're doing our part here. Yeah.
All right, son. Well, have a good night, man. We'll get this up and posted. And good night, Razzball Nation.